Hey guys, welcome back to Cleaning Business TV. My name is Ron Holt. I'm the CEO and founder of Two Maids and a Mop.
And I'm David Luke, Vice President for Operations for Two Maids and a Mop.
And David's going to have a big part or big presence today in today's discussion on what we're going to talk about. We're actually going to talk about how to create a wonderful office culture for your cleaning business, and that's something that really gets overlooked a lot. Even for me as the owner of this company, I started this 11 years ago, and when I started the business, we were as startup as it could get. I mean, we had two customers, two employees, two part-time employees, I should say. So we were in big-time startup phase, and it kind of felt like, even through a lot of our growth spurts, that we were always in startup phase, and we were just always scratching and clawing, and I call it hustling. After a while, I kind of looked in the mirror and I said, "Oh my goodness, we've got a real business here. We've got multiple locations across multiple states, and we're still running this business as if it's a small startup business." So I reached out to David a while back, and I said, David's got a background in management and organization, and I really felt that he could bring what we were missing. We had a lot of things going for us, but the culture itself within our home office and within our actual cleaning business offices wasn't bad, but it needed a level of organization and needed a culture, in other words, that I wasn't able to provide because I was that entrepreneur that just had the drive and energy. So David actually, when I first met him, talked to me about what the 5 killers are to an office culture, and I thought it'd be a great idea for him to talk about those 5 killers today with you guys.
Yeah, this is not original to me. Actually, this is Dave Ramsey, great organizational structure kind of guru for me. Not only does he do finance talks, but he also does organizational culture. And this was one of the first things I looked at when joining Two Maids and a Mop, and looking at how their culture was developed. And one of the first killers, though, of office culture is a failure to communicate. That's a failure to communicate from the management to the employees to the owners to the whole level of communication. That's one of the first things I heard when coming on board was I heard employees say, "Well, we were never communicated that," or "We were never trained in that," or "We were never whatever." And it was that failure to communication to communicate that really was an organizational killer, basically, and it killed office culture as well. That if they didn't have open communication, open lines of communication between the management, between the owners, between all the different players, they felt like they weren't being heard. They felt like their needs weren't being met. You name it, and that was the first killer of an office culture that I found. The second is a lack of shared purpose. Now, for me, a lack of shared purpose is the company, why the company exists. Companies that are very successful have a shared purpose. They know what their purpose is. They've defined why they're in business better than anybody else. There are companies that excel in a shared purpose, from Google to Apple to Prius to you name it. There are companies out there that have this purpose for their existence, and that everybody in that culture, everybody in that organization understands their purpose for existence. For us at Two Maids and a Mop, we do have a shared purpose. We have a common purpose that each and every one of our employees should tell you about. And we're a maid service we're talking about. We want to be that. We want communication between the customers and the employees. We want communication between the employees and management. We want communication the whole way. And they understand that open line of communication and that shared purpose is that we want to be a maid service worth talking about. And that shared purpose goes into how they clean, into how they enter a home, into how they treat customers. You name it. And every one of our employees understands that. They understand in our organization, that's how they get paid because of our leading industry pay for performance plan. Easy for me to say.
Easy
pay for performance plan. You name it. It's all based on this shared purpose because we're driving reviews. We're driving people to talk about Two Maids and a Mop, and that is our purpose for existence. We really want to be the best cleaning company in America, and we're well on our way of that. Actually,
it's sort of like an ownership mentality that we've tried to drive home, and we feel like we can implement that ownership mentality by allowing our customers to have such a strong voice, because our employees, or team members, I should say, also know that. They know when they walk into a home that when they leave that home, the customer is going to have all the power in the world.
Right.
So that one little tiny thing allows us to create that shared purpose David's talking about without us having to say it. It's inherently there.
And that will kill an office culture terribly fast, is that lack of a shared purpose from every employee and every team member you have. The third is unresolved disagreements. Now, in any office culture, you're going to have disagreements. You're going to have disagreements from how much you're getting paid, from my hours were cut, to you name it. I'm not satisfied here. I'm not getting my needs met here. Now, disagreements are expected. In any office culture, disagreements are going to happen. The thing that kills an office culture is not having disagreements. It's leaving them unresolved. It's not actually addressing them. It's saying, well, let's sweep that under the rug and not deal with it. Some of our best managers in our locations do this effectively, do this great actually. Bring in the team members after a day and actually talk it out with them to say, what went wrong, what went right, give me some suggestions, and are y'all getting along? Every good manager we have in every one of our locations, or every good owner we have as a franchise owner, understands this principle that they cannot have unresolved disagreements between team members. They have to have a team on board to have an awesome office culture.
Because in our business, and in fact in most cleaning businesses, you're working in crews. In some cases, it's
right.
In our case, 2 people, 2 maids and a mop.
2 maids and a mop. Yeah.
In other cases, there's more than 2 people. We've heard as many as 4 or 5 being
sure.
in one crew. The reason these unresolved disagreements can really become a real problem is the work's done outside of the office. So
right.
You've got one person who is not happy with whatever happened yesterday. That person's then going to talk to their partner about it, and all of a sudden, by the end of the day, you've got now 2 people who are
right.
unhappy,
right.
and that's just in one day. So that continues to extrapolate, and all of a sudden, you've got some real problems on your hand that you could have dealt with by just resolving these disagreements.
Sure.
And like David said, some of our office managers. Most of them, in fact, do a really good job of having an afternoon session with. That's another. We talked last week of why it's important to have an office rather than a home-based business.
Right.
This is another reason why it's so important to really have an office, is because it allows you to see the people that are working for you every day, not just in the morning. But when they're done, you can talk about what they've done that particular day.
And you can have a handle on that culture. You can have a handle
exactly.
on those employees, seeing them face to face every day. The fourth thing is sanctioned incompetence. This literally means that you are sanctioning incompetence from the top down. If you have team members that see other team members that are being lazy on the job, and getting paid more and not doing as much, and they're getting elevated in promotions and performance reviews, you name it. If that's seen as sanctioned incompetence from the leadership to every single team member, they're gonna hate it. It will kill an office culture, because another team member is going to say, well, that team member is getting this and they're not doing half as much as I'm doing. They're not cleaning half as many homes. They're not doing all these things that I'm doing, and they're basically sanctioning that incompetence. Again, in an office culture, you're going to have different things happen. You're going to have different levels of competency. It is when leadership says we sanction incompetence and we even promote it or elevate it, that will kill an office culture. Again, it's sanctioned incompetence from the leadership down, that you say incompetence is okay, we're going to live with it. People want to see that you address problems, that you get to those problems quickly, and you deal with them effectively, and you do not allow sanctioned incompetence.
And with this, I lived this for a long time, because I would hear it. When I was first getting started, we had some people who would walk into the office or want to talk to me privately, and it always seemed like the root of the problem started with was, this is your favorite and that's your favorite.
Right.
And it really created some real issues, because I didn't really know I was doing that. But in their mind, it was happening, and that's all that really matters, is what's happening in their minds. Right. So this is a very important one, because that, again, by itself could create some real problems, because all of a sudden, we just talked about the other 3 things. That 4th thing could create those other things you've already talked about.
Right. The 5th. Now, this one I love. Ooh, I love. This is a killer.
Especially in our industry.
In our industry. Gossip. Now, we are a cleaning industry. We are a maid service. Most of our employees are female. Now, that's not every one of our employees has to be female, because two maids and mom, we're maids who are mature, ambitious individuals dedicated to service. Maids.
M-A-I-D-S.
Right, you got it. But gossip rears its ugly head from time to time, and let me explain gossip. Gossip is when a rumor or something is said to another team member or another employee that can do nothing about the situation. So-and-so did this, so-and-so did this, and the person you're telling can do nothing about that situation. That's gossip. Gossip is not gossip when a team member or somebody else in the office culture is doing something improper and that is communicated upwards to someone who can do something about it. That is not gossip. That is a complaint, and we love those. We want to be an open line of communication company so that we can have a wonderful office culture. But if gossip to continue to exist, gossip really is one of the biggest killers to that office culture. Whenever somebody is saying something about someone else and they can do nothing about it. Well, I want to tell you about so-and-so, or I want to tell you about this person, or I want to tell you about this person, and the person you're telling, again, can do nothing about it. Gossip, however, is not gossip if those complaints or those suggestions or those whatever go up to somebody who can do something about it. So gossip, again, is a huge office culture killer. And if it's not addressed early on, and these are talks we do throughout our company actually, we address gossip early and often in our company so that we can have wonderful office culture.
When David brought these 5 points into our business, or incorporated these into our business, this was probably the one thing that was somewhat confusing, because there's a fine line between gossip and actual a problem. So kind of talk about what that difference maker is, and the best way to think about it is kind of going up versus down.
Right.
But sometimes gossip going down may not be gossip going up.
That's right. That's right. The same thing can be said. If it goes to somebody who can do something about it, it's not gossip. It's just a complaint.
Right.
Now, just outside of just the killers of organizational culture and office culture, we actually do things with our industry that are, I think, good for us. They're wonderful for our office culture. We do a celebration once a month. It's called the Maid of Honor, right? Maid of Honor. We do once a month. One of our maids in each of our locations is going to win a Maid of Honor award, and that's for following all our general standards, getting great reviews, you name it. They're basically elevated within each individual office, which is a great motivational tool. Second, we do quarterly celebrations with our girls. We do with our maids, with our team members. We do quarterly celebrations with them, basically to know they're appreciated, to know that we value them as people, and they're not just hired hands. They're basically appreciated,
right,
and a part of a family even.
And I'm going to take credit for that, because I felt like that was something we really needed to do a long time ago, because I wanted 2 maids and a mop to not just be another cleaning company, or even another business for that matter. A lot of the people that we were hiring even recognized that. They said, "Man, we've never had anything like this." Now we over time, our quarterly celebrations have evolved. In the early days, we just said, "Hey, it's every 3 months and go have fun." Today, we're attempting to make it more performance-based, where the celebration still occurs, but the level of celebration increases based on certain performance metrics, so that there can be an even more culture present there, so that everybody feels like they're driving toward the same goal.
Sure.
So quarterly celebrations, again, these are things we're doing. Of course, if you purchase a franchise, you're going to learn all these things.
Right, we'll teach you about them all.
Yeah, in a lot of detail. But if you're choosing to do this on your own and out there, then you can use some of these. And feel free to even call us, and we'll talk to you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But there's a million things. We're just going to talk to you about 4 or 5 specific things we do. But there's another 1,000 that you could do on your own.
We do annual meetings as well. We do an annual meeting every year, bringing everybody together, share ideas, kind of see what's working, what's not working, go over some misses, go over some wins that we've had, which is another organizational, just building that team unity that is great for our office culture.
People talk about that we call it annual retreat. They talk about it.
I think we're going to switch it to MaidCon. I like
that.
No? Comic-Con?
It is, yeah. We do need to trademark it, but I'm not sure what to do with it yet. But We've had our annual meetings in different locations, different states, and for the most part, everyone loves it. They look forward to it all year. Of the 5 things we're talking about, this one's probably the most important. It's our entire day, as far as a manager or a franchise manager would be. Every minute, every hour of that day is actually accounted for. One of the things you're going to do first thing in the morning is have an actual what we call morning meeting. And while that may seem silly, in our business it's an actual requirement because 95% of the day is outside of that office. So it's very important to make sure that the day gets started off in the right way. So then when they leave, that culture permeates from the office to the car to the person's home, the customer's home. So we have a coordinated way to get the day started, and those morning meetings, for the most part, are uplifting and are designed to again create a culture that's a requirement once they leave the office.
That's right. And then we have contests. We have contests that are performance-based contests. We have big boards in our office show from what they did last week to what they're doing this week. And one winner in actually one of our offices gets a bonus every week because of their sales in that office. And so everybody's on board. We want everybody to understand the sales of that office. And in any cleaning ministry, you're going to want that. You're going to want every person to care about how well that business is doing, not just on a personal level, but as a whole. And that creates that team spirit, that unity, basically, that we're looking for in our industry, which is why I love what's happening now at our 2 Maids and a Mop locations and the office culture that's being developed. I think it's exciting. I think it's an exciting time to be with 2 Maids and a Mop and see the development happen.
When it comes to contests, those things are all over the place. There's a great book that I read years and years ago called The Great Game of Business, which, have you ever read The Great Game of Business?
I have
not. It's really a whole book on how to use contests and games to build your business and get everyone involved. And when you look at the contest individually, it seems like it's just a contest or a game. But when you put all those things together, what it's doing is actually building the culture that David has talked about today. So I hope this has been interesting for me. It's always good to hear it because this is what really brought David into our business. And since he's been here, we've seen a real change in our culture. And I think for your business, you need to think of it. That's something we don't talk about enough here. When you think cleaning business, a lot of times people start talking about the cleaning part of it. And obviously that's an important part of it. But the second part of that is business. So treat your cleaning business like it's an actual business, and that starts with creating a culture. So hopefully it's been informative and you've learned a lot. And we'll see you again in a week.
See ya.
See you later.